Okay, now as far as testing a firewall is concerned, it's really hard to envision what the steps are without me. Actually, I had to break out a workflow so you could see, because there's so many different variables or options that could actually take place. But let's start off with the basics. And the basic would be obviously to first recon the target. Again, finding out as much information about it as we can. So part of the process of doing that reconnaissance is then obviously implementing a port scan so that we can see which available ports that might uniquely identify the firewall. So the question that comes up is, did we detect a firewall? Now, ignore the blue circle for a second. This is going to be our continuation in our workflow. We'll come back to it, but I just want you to know that, in this case here with this workflow, we either have a yes or a no. And we're going to assume a no, we did not detect the firewall. Well, at that point we would do a banner grab, which helps us to detect the services running on the firewall. If we still don't detect a firewall, our next step would be then to go through and perform a firewalking technique to determine the access information on the firewall when we send packets that are probing the device. Well, guess what? If we don't detect a firewall after that, then technically there's no firewall there, or it's been really locked down very nicely. So I often refer to it as, okay, well, it's prepared to be pwned because they don't really have a firewall. Now, if any time during these steps that you detect a firewall, your next step then would be to continue on. And from here, we don't have as many different options. We've got certain steps that we're going to actually walk through. So we would start off with typically just disabling a trusted host and then taking the IP address of that host. From there, we can go through and perform a source routing attack. If we're not able to accomplish anything there, then we might try fragmenting the IP. During a fragmentation attack, we're going to force the TCP header information into the next fragment in order to bypass the firewall. We can then go through and fire up a VPN or even use a proxy to see if we can bypass the IDS system or firewall from the inside. Regardless of whether or not we are able to get past it at this point, our next step is to test to see if we can get past it via an ICMP tunnel. So we would perform an ICMP tunneling to tunnel a backdoor application and the data portion of the ICMP echo package. We would also want to attempt an ACK tunnel using tools like ACK CMD to tunnel a backdoor also into a TCP packet. Oh, and we're not done tunneling yet. We can also, or we should, test to see if an HTTP tunnel will pass through. Typically, we see this technology or this type of a test get through because we typically open up port 80 so that things like Outlook Anywhere, which uses port 80, or even some of the newer technologies that Microsoft's taking advantage of port 80 and tunneling through it. A lot of it is designed for our mobile users, but we need to be aware of whether or not this can take place. You can use tools like HTTP port or HTTP host as well as HTTP tunnel to see if traffic can go across port 80. Again, all the firewall will think is that standard HTTP requests are going across. You'd also want to try to perform an SSH tunnel using a tool like Bitvice to encrypt and to tunnel all traffic from the local machine to the remote machine. Now, once we've done that, we can try to gain access to the corporate network just simply by sniffing user traffic and stealing session IDs and cookies. You could also fire up a man-in-the-middle attack or even spoof DNS replies. All those things would lead us to the next step, which is, yeah, I tricked you again, huh? Documentation. Again, we're going to document what we found at the firewall level. Now, we're going to have separate documentation when it comes to the IDS systems.